I want to start out giving all praise to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Rakakadash. Blessings to 144,000, 1/3. Double honors to the elders and apostles. I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to start off in the book of Matthew, chapter 4, verse 4. But he answered and said, "It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God." So we can't, I know it's more prophecies that's yet to be fulfilled so far as the MOTB. And when that comes, it's going to be hard for people to eat. But as you know, in that day, the Father's servants shall eat. So we should not be worried. But even still, with that being said, we can't only be cardinal and think food is the only thing that we need and shelter is the only thing that we need. Because when this mark comes, anybody that doesn't get it, you're going to have problems doing everything. Buying gas, paying electric, paying your mortgage, paying your rent. And even some people haven't even brought it out, but it came to my mind that imagine if you have children and they see that you don't get the MOTB. They're going to come for your kids to take your kids away because they're going to say you're an unfit parent. Because, think about it. If you're not going to get the mark, how are you supposed to feed them? So that's something to think about. We're going to turn to Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 3. And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doeth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord doeth man live. So as you can see, those are two totally different chapters of the Bible. One in as people would say, the Old Testament, one in the New Testament. It's all Testament. But you see how it says that we can't just live on bread alone. We're going to turn to 1 Peter chapter 2. 1 Peter chapter 2, verses 2 and 3. Wherefore, laying aside all malice and all guile and hypocrisy and envy and all evil speaking, as newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. So as babes, we're gonna get the milk, because we are babes. But even learning this truth, we might learn some things, and we think that's it. But no, we gotta grip to the things that's going now at this minute, and the things that is important, and the things that's gonna hold us firmly rooted. So please turn with me to Hebrews chapter 5, verse 14. So we're going to look in Hebrews chapter 5. We're going to start in verse 12. For the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principle of the oracles of God, and are become such as have need of milk, and not of strong meat. For everyone that useth milk useth it in words of righteousness, for he is a babe. But for strong meat belongs to them that are full of age, even those who are reason of use have their senses executed to discern both good and evil. And that's what we got to do. We have learned the smaller things. So now it's time to learn the bigger things. And we must hold of those bigger things as milk. We have to become mature when it comes to these things. And I also want to bring out with this, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about some more things. We're going to turn to Matthew chapter 4, verse 3. And when the tempter came to him, he said, If thou be the Son of God, command these stones to be made bread. Now, as you know, he was being tempted. Yahushua was being tempted. And when it comes to that, we're gonna fall through the temptation too. We don't want to be stealing and doing things we're not supposed to be doing, because that's what we will be doing, turning our works into stone just to get bread. So we don't want to do that, because doing negative stuff like that is stones. You're doing something bad to turn into bread. So we can't do that. So that's why we cannot live on bread alone. We have to rely on the Father to provide for us. Now, I also want to go into this picture that you see in front of you. As you first see, it goes from small to big and then something off onto the side. You see how they're showing planes, all right? How they use planes. Planes are used for a lot of things. They're used for transportation, used for mailing stuff, and they also used for war. So, as you see, it starts out with the small plane, then it starts out with a jet, and as you can see, the one right next to the blue one, that's almost close to it, that's symbolizing a drone. All right, and then you have another jet that they made that is very, very fast. I've seen that one. It basically goes like 9,000 to 10,000 miles per hour. But the thing is, with that, it's unmanned because no one can handle that G-force. And off to the side, as you see, is a disc shape, and that disc shape symbolizes the so-called UFOs. Now, unless you have really gone back and done your research, this stuff with this UFOs go way back, even to like 1913, so far as the technology. And Hitler first came with it. And I'm not really going to go really deep into that. But the point is, when you look at the United States, just like how Oppenheimer was given the technology to make the atomic bomb, and we all know that was information that was given to them on the left-hand side. But seeing that it was given on to them the left-hand side, they did not know that they was getting that information from the left-hand side. They were just thinking that this is all their ideas and thinking and wishing, you know, but not knowing that the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, was setting them up to do His will. So, some brothers may know, but not all brothers know. But United States does have flying discs and flying ships that if you would see it, you would think it's out of this world. You will have to be someone that you are constantly looking into this and constantly going on other forums to know this. If you don't do that, then you think someone might be going off when you might hear these words. But these words are true. But the difference is between these discs that are made basically from the United States is that they have limitations to them. But the Father's disc and ships, they don't have limitations. They could do things that's out of this world. If you look at the Bacon family, right? Everything with the Bacon family has to do with controlling the world. And that's how the MOTB is going to be brought out. Because with these Bacon families that are working, just like I was brought out with Aaron Russo, their whole end goal is to have everybody C-hip. So if everybody C-hip, that's a form of control. And that's the same thing what these people want to do. I'm also going to turn, this came on to me through Holy Spirit to bring this out. So I'm just going to have to bring it out. Matthew 24:24. For there shall rise false Christs and false prophets, and shall slew great signs and wonders, and so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. But they won't be able to deceive the elect. The very elect is going to know everything that they're doing. That's why they want to gather all of us up. Especially those that are really into, I would say the stuff about flying disc and stuff like that. Because America's basically going to sacrifice itself. Because think about it. If these countries are really so far into being against each other and stuff like that, and all these nations trade their resources for profit, and they have a one world bank where they keep account of all this money. And as you can see with this MOTB, every country has a form of a digital payment. I mean, come on now. They have had Western Union for years. For years. If you need money, send it wirelessly. And if you're someone that's from outside of the United States, it's so many people that send money wirelessly. You go to a place, either Western Union or some type of money transfer place, you give them the money, they charge you a certain amount, and then you send the money away electronically, and then the people on the other side, they get it, and then they work their finances like that. But once this thing gets implemented of the MOTB, it's just going to be a one world currency. So since it's going to be a one world currency and they got to set this up for control, these wars are orchestrated. If you've been following the history, if you look at how the Rothschilds were, they were saying how they are the ones that can control the wars and start the wars. These wars are being started. I found something a month ago showing how the United States had bombed the Houthis. They bombed the Houthis. And looking at the Houthis, they are a form basically from Iran. And they bombed them. They bombed the Houthis. And then the stuff that's going over there in Africa with Burkina Faso, the United States saying that Burkina Faso are some terrorists. Now, Russia are in connections and they're allies with Burkina Faso. Because Burkina Faso has a lot of gold. And there has been a lot of discovery in the continent of Africa of a lot of resources. A lot of resources. They have found several mountains in the Congo full of gold. Nothing but gold. Same thing with Burkina Faso. Tons of gold. And that's how Burkina Faso are buying all their things to make their roads and everything. And the United States used which I would say someone as a puppet to say that Burkina Faso are some terrorists, and they're going to try to, do things, use their gold as a leverage to do evil things, which is not true. But everything is about if you're going to be down with the program. So if you're not down with the program, so far as this new world order that's going to be implemented with this one world currency, because you're going to have to be shut down. So when you look at how they have, it first started out as the League of Nations, which was done in World War I by Roosevelt. Then it transferred over to the United Nations. So that is a group of all countries that come together, and that's where it's going to be spring from, the United Nations. How they all going to come together and implement this one world government and this one world currency. And anyone that's not down with it, and anyone that tries to expose them, are going to be brought down. So some of you brothers might be being followed, which we all are being followed and watched and monitored. These are things that are going on. I know that happens with me a lot, but the thing is, you have to see where the money goes. And how everything is being tracked. But they have to implement this one world government. Because once they have this, after this little war that they're going to have or try to do stuff like that, they're going to have this one world government. And then once everybody is united against this one world government, because they have to, because the ones that are, the elites that are higher up, they know everything. They know that Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai is coming. So the only way for them to get ready for that is they have to unite together against the Father through his Son. And that's what they're doing right now. President Trump don't care about what happens to America. He knows it's going to go down. That's why just before then, they had a special plane that came in just in case if they tried to bomb the United States. This plane is able to withstand a nuclear blast. It's that strong. This is what they say. So why would they already have a plane on standby ready for this? And this ain't US one. US one, whatever they use, the regular one. No, it's a different plane. Because they know they have to get rid of the people to bring the numbers down on this earth. Just like the Godstones. They have a certain amount of number of people that they want to have so they can control. If they have too much people, it's more harder for them to control. It's more easier to control a smaller number. So what they're going to do is let America crumble. Then they're going to establish their one world government. And then they're going to implement the MOTB. Through that United Nations. And then once they got everything going on, and they feel, oh, we got our money coming and this and that, everything looks good, they gonna think, all right, we got it. But they know in the back of their mind that Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai is coming. So by that time, they will already be united together. And all the leaders of all those countries would know that, hey, we got to get ready for this. But in their minds, they think they can actually win. And the only reason why they would think that they can actually win is because of the technology. It's technology that if you would see it, you would think that is coming from Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. That's why it says in Matthew 24:24, that if it were possible, they'll be able to fool the elect. And that's their goal, to have people fooled. Because think about it. What more peace would it be to see the Father through the Son coming? I mean, that's something peaceful to think about, to see something like that. When you see the clouds coming, and then, shoot, I would think the first thing, if you're seeing the Lord's Son, you're gonna wanna run to those ships and try to be like, man, I'm ready to get out of here. That'll be the first thing you thinking, not knowing that those ships that you're gonna be seeing during that time, you're gonna see the Father ships, and you're gonna see their fake ships. Their fake ships are gonna be there to deceive those that are weak-minded, because they know salvation has to come. They have to be delivered. So what more better way to get those that are supposed to be chosen on those fake ships? I mean, look at all the movies that they always show. From Independence Day, War of the Worlds, they all show the same thing. The alien invasion. It's not the alien invasion. It's the Messiah invasion. That's what they want to do. They want to confuse people. That's why we have to take these scriptures very, very seriously. They want to confuse people. Because the United States has shown that they have made these type of flying vessels that they have that could do things that's out of this world. And some of these videos that you see that show stuff zipping around and stuff like that, a lot of that stuff is false. And a lot of that stuff is AI. You got to be careful with some of the stuff that you watch out here. Because when the Father wants to reveal himself, he's going to reveal himself. He don't have to always have a UFO so you can see, so you can believe that it's a chariot. He don't have to do that. He wants you. We out here looking for signs. Nah. When we see it coming, you're gonna know. He's gonna put it on you that, hey, this chariot right here, this is of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and those other chariots are false. Just something to put out there, because all these people talking about they've been abducted and experimented on. Some of those people really have been, because what more better way to make a ship and to actually experiment on people. It makes more sense to do something like that. So that way, when the person that's been experimented on, they can actually tell their story, and they're gonna tell it with conviction. Because when someone is like, listen, man, I'm not lying, telling the truth. You can sense it. And some people are good liars, but they can sense it. And when they can sense it, they're gonna say how they feel. People gonna believe it, and they're gonna think that that's what's going on. But in actuality, it was the government the whole time. It was the government going around abducting people, experimenting on them. And then so when they go back and tell their story, they monitor those people. And this has been people from the 80s and 90s that said that when they was abducted, they had little chips in them. And doctors have received it and removed it from people. That stuff has happened. So we have to be careful about the stuff that's out here that we see and we watch when it comes to these chariots. Because the United States are going to have their chariots, and Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is going to have his chariots. But the difference is Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai chariots are way more better than what the United States government got. That's the only thing that will make anybody bend. to listen to what you got to say. If you show someone that you have technology that no one else has, and you got to remember that Russia and the United States went to war against Germany. And they already said that when they went into Germany, they got some of those scientists. They got some of those scientists. All right. They got some of those scientists from Germany. And Germany at that time was a country that was making they was on the verge of making these UFO type things because they couldn't afford the gasoline and oil like that. And all these vehicles are nothing but stuff that works off of electricity. And they wonder why it looks like light when they see them. They work on a principle of like the a Van de Graaff generator, if you know what that is. If you ever seen a Van de Graaff generator, it's something that when you touch it, it does static electricity and it makes your hair stand up. So with a Van de Graaff generator, it uses a belt that's like a rubber band, and it goes off of friction. But if you ever lift up the pole of it from the Van de Graaff generator, when it carries the electricity, it makes a light. It makes a light on it that's very, very bright. So if you have a ship and you implement to ionize the air on that ship, then it will make the whole ship light up, which will make the ship look nothing but like light. So when you see it, so instead of you seeing a metal flying plane, you would just see light. That's how they work. You have to really be deep into, finding mechanics and how stuff works, or have an idea of electricity, how electricity work. If you're not into that field, then you're not going to understand how this stuff works. If you're just someone that you just have to have a idea of electricity and mechanics and stuff like that. If you don't have it, you're not going to understand. It's going to seem like the person just saying a bunch of gibberish, a bunch of stuff that's not true, and the person just saying whatever. And the first thing you're going to think is, don't believe that person, don't subscribe to them. They're just saying whatever they want to say to feel good, to get people to like their videos. No. This stuff is real. They have this technology out there. But the thing is, the most high technology is more supreme than the technology that they have, because the reason why it is because they still can't get away from Earth, because they haven't found a way to deal with the pressure that's outside of space. That's what's they're lacking. And they're not gonna be able to do that because they don't have those spiritual bodies to do it. And then that's what those are going to be given, those new spiritual bodies, as it's brought out. So, I mean, with that being said, all I'm going to say, if you want to really look into it, it's information out there. It's information, some information that's still out there that's even from the 80s, or how electricity worked, that you can look at these things. I mean, you have to search it if you want to find it, but it's really not that important. The main thing is that stay hold to these scriptures, listen to the elders and apostles, and stand firm in this truth, and spread the word to your best ability. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Rakakadash. All praises to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone, the 144,000, the 1/3, and the elect. With that being said, Shalom.